So at that point, I realized that more needs to be done to possibly help people. And there's a few other things that happened in my life at the same time that made me realize that really just being positive and being happy changes people's lives a little bit. You, to take a step back, everybody can affect other people in a positive way with very little effort. And so, with all those things kind of culminating at the same time, I decided to start this application called Take 2 Minutes.
Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by my man, Audley Stephenson, the Odd Man.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Audacious Living Podcast, where our ongoing goal is to help you live your best audacious life ever. Each and every week we bring inspiring conversations and practical insights that really are designed to empower you on your journey towards a more fulfilling and vibrant existence. It's always a pleasure to be here sharing this space with you, and I genuinely appreciate you for taking time out of your day to join us. Together, we can explore the possibilities that lie ahead and unlock the audacity within each and every single one of us. Now, imagine your mind is a garden where the thoughts you cultivate can bloom into vibrant flowers or become entangled weeds. Take 2 Minutes offers a unique approach to nurturing that garden, providing daily activities that act as sunlight and water, encouraging the growth of positive thoughts. Just as a gardener must regularly tend to their plants to ensure they flourish, we too must consciously dedicate time to recognize the positives in our lives. Marc Fussell emphasizes this vital practice, illustrating how focusing on the bright spots can significantly improve our overall well-being. Participants in the Take 2 program have experienced remarkable increases in their positivity levels, demonstrating the transformative power of small intentional actions. With text-based reminders and for activities like gratitude, journaling, and meditation, Take 2 Minutes equips users with essential tools to deliver a flourishing mindset. It's totally thrilled to have Marc on the podcast. Like I said, he's the founder of Take 2 Minutes, which is a not-for-profit initiative designed to foster positivity through daily engagement. With a background in technology and a deep passion for mental health, Marc has dedicated himself to creating a platform that empowers individuals to develop a more positive mindset. His journey began when he sought to support his own son during challenging times, and it blossomed into a movement that has impacted thousands of lives since. Marc's work with Take 2 Minutes is incredibly relevant to our discussion today as we explore the power of positivity and the importance of intentional actions in our daily lives. His insights and experiences offer valuable perspectives on how we all can take meaningful steps towards enhancing our mental well-being. So now that we got you set, let's turn to our conversation with Marc. Enjoy. Hey, Marc, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time to do this, my friend.
Oddly, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on and as a guest.
Yeah, no, it's great to be able to share insights and offer perspectives as we move through this world and encourage individuals to live their best audacious life, right? And so that pathway, it's going to offer all sorts of challenges, and there isn't a one size fits all sort of approach. It's all going to be different for each and every single one of us, but we still have that obligation to continue to push forward and move ahead. And so you have, I was going to say an approach, and I'm not sure this is the best one. Let's say you have an approach around taking 2 minutes that can help individuals get to a better place and live the life that they always wanted to. So maybe as a starting point, I can open up the door here, get you to come and introduce yourself to our listeners, and let them know what you're doing and what got you to this point that you're at now.
First off, I love the intro. I fully believe what you said is there is no one path for everybody. And I state that all the time in podcasts because even though Take 2 Minutes is a product I've developed, I truly believe that Take 2 Minutes is not a product for everybody. And I say that because there is no product for everybody. And I think the goal is for individuals to keep trying until they find a means that works for them. And the means might be a product, it might not be a product. It could be one of many things, but keep trying and find the way to live your best life, because there are means to help you out there and there are ways and paths you can do so. So trial and error is the best thing you can have. But back to your actual question, Take 2 Minutes is a service that I started. It's a website. I went down, I can tell you the background about it if you care to hear about it.
Please do.
It started as my older son was struggling in high school, and I started sending him text messages every day just to tell him that he's loved, let him know people out there care about him, hopefully lift his spirits up a little bit. My background as a technologist means that usually around noon, when I wanted to send him something, I was pretty busy, either hands down developing or in meetings, whatever it may be. And my really good thoughts of inspirational messages were coming in the morning hours. And so I wrote a little program that allowed me to, during the morning hours when I had some inspiration, text a message to a number, and then it would put it into a document, and a script would take a message out of a document and send it to him. Pretty rudimentary, but it allowed me to still send him a message every day at noon. That was my message. And then a few other people wanted to get the messages. And fast forward, one day I was in a coffee shop, and I assumed like 20 people were getting my messages, which I thought was kind of cool. But a complete stranger in line behind me spoke up and said, "I get your messages also." And I was shocked by that. And so I went and looked, and like 300 people were getting the messages, because I built the application to allow people to join and that kind of stuff. So at that point, I realized that more needs to be done to possibly help people. And there's a few other things that happened in my life at the same time that made me realize that really just being positive and being happy changes people's lives a little bit. To take a step back, everybody can affect other people in a positive way with very little effort. And so with all those things kind of culminating at the same time, I decided to start this application called Take 2 Minutes. To do so, I reached out to my network of contacts to find out if I had any contacts who knew more about this area. And I got in touch with a doctor of psychology out of Duke University who spent countless hours on the phone with me teaching me all he knows about positive psychology and all his studies he had done. He had like 40,000 participants through his program at Duke University, and he had a lot of really good data about positive psychology. And so I took all that and kind of made it into an application that is now Take 2 Minutes.
And how has it been received? I'm curious. Because and part of the reason I ask is this busy world that we're in, and when you tell people to take any time, they're like, what? Like, where do I find the time, right? And so, but you're now saying take 2 minutes. You're making it conscious, right? Stop, pause, slow down, whatever that word is, right? And to give yourself that opportunity, whether to catch your breath, to reflect, to think of new ideas or strategies. How is it being received?
That's a great question. And to be honest, I think there's a lot of people out there who want some assistance, and Take 2 Minutes is not meant to circumvent therapy, for instance, or counseling. It's supposed to be for people who need that level of assistance. It's supposed to be something to help them in addition to their counseling or therapy. But ultimately, my answer would be that it's a slow start. It started in 2019. Initially, it was a completely free service. Take 2 Minutes is a nonprofit. It's not a for-profit. So as a nonprofit, I made it a free service, but I also made it a free service because in my mind, I was still building it. So for about 5 years, 2019 through 2020, early 2024, it was in a perpetual beta as far as I was concerned. And it had about 30,000 people use the system in that perpetual beta. In 2024, I had reached a point, I think it had, let's say, around 25,000 active users, which was great. But unfortunately, what was happening is because I use text messaging as the main means of communication, as a business, I get charged per text message sent. So at 25,000 active users, I was incurring about a $5,000 a month text messaging bill, which Marc Fussell could not afford. And so I had to change it to a pay model in 2020, early 2024, about March of this year. And since it's been a pay model, obviously there's been a lot of attrition. People who were getting it for free don't want to pay, which is understandable. Sure. So since it's been a pay model, it's been slower to start, but it's also a challenging world out there. If you're talking from a business perspective, it's really, really hard to get people's attention. So I don't think a fraction of 1% of the population even knows Take 2 Minutes exists, because it's just really hard to get people's attention these days with social media being so noisy, being so many other apps out there. I think there's something like 7,000 apps that are either, around gratitude journaling or meditations, what have you. The big names are like Calm and Headspace, right? They're doing a good job. But in my mind, Calm and Headspace focus on audio mostly. So it's
Yep.
either meditations or sleep exercises. And what I love about Take 2 Minutes is I have both of those, meditations and sleep exercises, but I also have gratitude journaling. I also have a gratitude challenge, which I would love to talk to you about, because I think that's a great way of people to get into a better mindset. I have 3 Good Things, a huge activity I'd like to also talk about. And again, when we talk about these activities, going back to what you and I originally said, it's not that people have to use Take 2 Minutes for gratitude journaling or the gratitude challenge. It's just that's one path. And I think I'm on podcasts such as yours, in my mind, to communicate to people options out there, whether they use Take 2 Minutes or not. I think the options are still valuable to understand, and you can choose your own path from there.
And I just really do appreciate making it conscious, like you're making. So let's use gratitude journaling as an example. We're making it conscious that there is value in this. Here's what the benefits can be, and here's why it makes sense for you. And again, whether it's through Take 2 Minutes or on their own, I think getting people in that space is a good thing. I'd love to talk about how we manage the distractions, because that's really what I think the underlying theme in all of this is, we are getting sidetracked by distractions to the point where they're taking over our lives. How do we manage those things, Mark?
I think there's a few answers to that. And I like to start off with a quote, and I always get this quote somewhat wrong, from Barbara Fredrickson, who's a psychologist. And she said that the negative screams at us, but the positive only whispers, meaning that you look at social media, news, anything, there's all kinds of negatives. There's, instilling fear and concern in us, which increases anxiety. I think through positive psychology and the activities of Take 2 Minutes that others, again, you can partake in those activities however you want to, but I think through the efforts of positive psychology, somebody can learn to filter out what is noise. They can learn to focus on the positive. So the studies have shown that, let's use gratitude journaling, because I think gratitude journaling, as you touched on, is a huge exercise. Gratitude journaling, and I've had quite a few focus groups and participants go through my focus groups. What I've learned is a lot of people don't know how to gratitude journal. Maybe they're in a negative mindset. Maybe they have some depression. Maybe they're just not focused. And so if you ask somebody, hey, write down something you're grateful for every day, a lot of people, come time to write it down, will sit there and think and come up and go, I have nothing right now. And that's their answers. I have nothing right now. So because of that, I wrote a gratitude challenge. And the idea behind the gratitude challenge is for people like that. And the gratitude challenge sends you a prompt every day of something for which you should be grateful for. Now, keep in mind, when you say something you should be grateful for, we're a huge population, right? There's not one thing everybody can be grateful for. The purpose of this is try to make it as generic as possible so most people can be grateful for whatever the prompt is. One of the prompts, as an example, is the sun provides warmth and light to our planet. Think of a reason why you like the sun. So it gives someone something to think about, one thing, and write a gratitude statement about it. What I found through my focus groups are people who are not good at gratitude journaling or recognizing gratitude. If they do about 10 to 15 days of this gratitude challenge, I have received the feedback from these users saying, oh my gosh, every day now, I'm just recognizing gratitude. So what's happened is they've kind of retrained their brain to recognize the positives, right? Just through 15 days of activities, 15 days of them sitting down and writing a gratitude statement. And it doesn't have to be profound, right? I love the sun because when I'm outside and I feel the warmth on my skin, it makes me feel good. Simple statement, right? But recognizing that daily for 2 minutes, because you're writing one in about 2 minutes every day, can reprogram your mind to recognize that positivity. Now, I want to add that recognizing positivity doesn't mean you have, you hear the terms like fake positivity or toxic positivity. The goal is not to train that. The goal is to train legitimate positivity, because we're all going to have problems in life. There's ebbs and flows. Life is not rainbows and butterflies. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have grief. You're going to have a loss of a loved one. You're going to have things that impact your life in a way that you're not going to be happy on every day. And that whole turn that frown upside down. Doesn't
Right.
always work. So we're not trying to instill that. But through positive psychology, the way these exercises help you is you are able to recognize when you're having a down day or down days. It can be
Hmm.
plural. And
Yep.
when you are ready to overcome that, you have the tools, you have the means, you have the knowledge of knowing how to overcome that. So let's take grief, for example, right? There is no simple way of overcoming the loss of a loved one. That's going to take each individual the amount of time they need to process that. One individual might be able to do it in 3 days, one might take 3 weeks. But the purpose of positive psychology is that when you are ready, you know how to overcome that and not fall deeper down into that hole of depression.
Which is a challenge for a lot of people, right? Like to
Yeah.
be able to not to go down that hole. And um uh, and I like the fact that you referenced positive psychology a couple times here, because that seems to be a core aspect of this. I wonder if you could expand on maybe the connection of positive psychology in general, and take 2 minutes, I should say.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's all right. So, positive psychology, and I'm not a psychologist. A lot of the stuff has just been conveyed to me, but in my mind, in my interpretation, it's what I just said. Positive psychology is the ability to recognize activities and exercises that get your mind into a more positive state. So,
Hmm.
we took gratitude journaling, and the example I gave is after 15 days, you've kind of rewired your mind. Yeah, another good activity is three good things. Another activity that really does a good job of rewiring your mind to recognize positivity. So once you're able to recognize positivity or recognize happiness, recognize gratitude, however you want to word it, it helps you be a more positive person. Again, I always want to state that doesn't mean every day is going to be positive, because I hear so many people say, well, just because you're positive doesn't mean every day is great. No, you're right. Not every day is great. I have
Right.
plenty of challenges in my life. I mean, and I'm sure, you're a busy man as well. You have plenty of challenges. There's going to be days you wake up, quote unquote, on the wrong side of the bed because something is bad in that day. And it doesn't mean you're going to be all chipper and positive. And that's okay. The idea of positive psychology is not that you're going to be chipper every day. It's the understanding of and recognition when you're having one of those days or something's happened in your life to cause that, that when you are ready, you know how to overcome it. And I think that
Mm.
is the basis of positive psychology. Is getting your
Yeah.
mind to recognize the positivities in life and knowing how to do that.
I kind of see it like a toolbox. So these are the tools, and you
Yeah.
open that up, and maybe you'll need a hammer, maybe it's a saw or a wrench, or who knows what it is. But in that moment, because each circumstance that we're presented is not going to be the exact same as others, right? And so
Right.
to be able to know, at least to have that in your back pocket is such an important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's all kinds of different means. We talked about earlier in this conversation, meditation.
Hmm.
Meditation is a path to being a more positive, more calm person. It's not the only path, right? And even with meditation, the beauty of meditation is there's so many different ways to meditate. So I tell people all the time, if you try a meditation at whatever it may be, let's use even the competitors, Calm, Headspace, Take Two
Yep.
Minutes, one of the other hundreds of apps out there, and you don't like the meditation, don't stop. There are so many different ways and so many different mechanisms to meditate. Try
Yes.
someone else's meditations, try a different person, try different style meditations, because ideally you're going to find one that kind of resonates with you. And if it's not meditations, then
Yep.
gratitude journaling. If it's not
Yep.
gratitude journaling, then three good things. But there's plenty of positive psychology activities that will help you get into a good spot. You got to find the one that works well for you.
Yeah, yeah, which is going back to what we talked about right at the top, right? Like it's not going to be the exact same for every
Yeah.
single person, but you still need to find what works best for you, right? And because we're all different, and in fact, even the challenges that we run into are not going to be necessarily the same either, and that's to need a different tool, right? The hammer
Right.
versus a saw, right? So there we go.
Yeah. Exactly. I couldn't agree more. We're all different people, but we have similarities. And one of those similarities is we can live a more fulfilled life if we recognize positivity and don't always just focus on the negatives.
What are you hearing from people that have gone through Take 2 minutes, and again, kind of feedback, or what are you hearing?
Yeah, have some great feedback videos that are actually on the site. So one of the paths through Take 2 minutes that I have recommended to a lot of people is, so first off, Take 2 minutes has built in a questionnaire called the Modified Differential Emotion Scale Questionnaire. So it's a lot of words. It's shortened to MDES. The idea behind it is 20 questions that rate your negativity against your positivity, or kind of
Yeah.
rank the two. So it gives you a score of the top numbers, your positivity, bottom numbers, your negativity. Most people who have taken that test, believe it or not, most people, the average person is about a 1-to-1 ratio, or
Yep.
sometimes they have more negativity than positivity. So anyway, all the participants started with a MDS questionnaire that gave me a baseline of their negativity and positivity.
Mhm.
Once they did that, I, for lack of better terms, prescribed them to do 30 days of gratitude journaling. And this was
Right.
some of the beautiful parts. Some people who didn't know how to gratitude journal took the gratitude challenge. Some people who knew how to gratitude journal did gratitude journaling. So you have two paths in the gratitude experience. One is the journaling and one is the challenge. So anyway, 30 days of gratitude. At the 15-day mark, I added into their prescribed activities the 3 good things activity. So ideally, gratitude journaling is done in the morning hours. Sometime after you wake up, you sit down and you write a statement for something you're grateful for. 3 good things then happens in the evening hours. And 3 good things is an activity that I often hear misrepresented on social media. The idea behind 3 good things is really to reflect on the day. It's a reflection of the past day for you to write down 3 good things. And it could be good things that you did. It could be something that happened to you. It could be something you witnessed. It's just something good from the day. Because sometimes at the end of the day, we're tired. We have some of that negativity building up. But if you look back on the day and think of 3 good things, that helps you get into a positive mindset. When you fall asleep, then your subconscious works on that positivity. And this is where the new neural pathways start being connected in your brain to recognize more positivity. So again, to restate, 30 days of gratitude. At the 15-day mark, people took on 3 good things. At the end of 30 days, they could keep going, they could stop, they could do meditations, whatever they wanted to. And then at the 35th day, they did another MDES questionnaire. Through my research, 95% of all participants who complete that path have a 200% or more increase in positivity at the 35-day mark. It's astonishing. So you can really change the way you're
Mm.
looking at the world in just 30 days.
Yeah, no, I can see that. As you say that, I'm like, hey, there certainly can. And um, there's something to be said about time too. Like when you get time has an opportunity to offer more perspective, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to, and we all know something happens in the moment, we feel the way we feel, and all of a sudden that becomes this narrative and that's it. Whereas you take 2 minutes, right? Calm, give yourself that time to reflect. You can literally see the perspective change, literally.
Yeah, and I think that's what you just said is a good outlook. I know there's plenty of times just taking a little bit of time to respond to someone. My response is different. I'm a CIO full time. That's my full
Okay.
time job. I'm a
Okay.
CIO, and there's plenty of times where I get an email, I get something back, which I don't know how to properly word it. We'll say triggers me. Maybe it's just like yeah, well, what are they thinking type thing. And so quite often during those times, instead of just immediately responding back with something I may regret later on, I'll just pause. And I could pause for 2 minutes.
Yes.
I can pause for 5. I can pause for 10, whatever it may be. Take time to reflect on what's being asked, maybe even try to understand their perspective. And I think this is a big thing we as
Mm.
humans overlook these days. We live in a fast-paced life. So many people want to answer the question quickly and move on. But if you really take time to try to understand what is that person thinking, your response can be much more um, complete for them.
Yep.
You can
Yeah.
you can
Yep.
you can really understand them and have a much better response back to them instead of your knee-jerk response. So to what you're saying, taking 2 minutes or just taking some time to kind of let it marinate before you respond can be a great thing in certain circumstances.
I know one of the tactics I've used in the past when you get those quirky emails that kind of cause you to raise the eyebrow, I tend to write a response and not send it. Right. So
Yeah,
right,
that's great.
right.
Yeah.
So in my draft folder, there's lots of unsent emails, right? But and they probably never will be sent, and that's probably a good thing. But yeah.
Yeah. Or I've done that too. Oddly, what I do is I'll sometimes write it, not send it. I'll even take the to field, I'll blank it off just so I don't accidentally hit send. And then I'll wait like an hour or two and go back and read it and go, oh, that's a terrible response. Let me
Yeah.
improve this.
Yeah. No, it's true. But again, it's in that moment, and there's so much to be said when you can just separate the emotions from the
Yeah.
experience, right? And when you can do that and look at it from that lens, you're like, oh, okay, and you see it differently.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Remove the emotion, and that helps you have a better answer. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Um, so I guess for individuals who are like I'm wondering if you can sort of paint a picture, for our listeners here, what to expect. You go to take 2 minutes, you download it. What's the experience look like initially?
So It's not a download. It is a web application,
Okay.
and it's called the Progressive Web App. And what that means is it's a web application that was really meant to act like an app from the
Okay.
the mobile app store, but it's just a website is what it is. So it's a mobile first design. That's a kind of a technical term, but it's been designed for the mobile phone, and then I back designed it into a desktop. So it works on the desktop or mobile phone.
Got you.
But you go there. And the first thing you're going to see is a prompt to enter your phone number. The reason you enter your phone number instead of an email address, because going back to my earlier statement, it's a text-based
Text. Yeah.
messaging service. So,
Yeah.
this is a part that I truly think is beautiful. And again, everyone's different. Some people don't like this. And again, that's fine. But I use text messaging for communication because text messages are much more read than emails or app notifications. So if you take an app notification, if you have an app in the web store and you download it, a lot of people turn off app notifications. If you do
Mhm.
get an app notification, people ignore those. So app notifications have about a 24% read rate. When I was designing and building Take 2 Minutes, I thought to myself, if I'm really trying to help people, if I'm truly trying to help people, the communications matter. People getting these communications make a difference. So I want a means which people are going to read. And in more reading, I learned that text messaging has a 92% read rate within 3 minutes. So a lot of people read text messages. So what that means is if I'm going to really be communicating with people, text message is the way to go. It costs more money, but it is the way to get messages to them. So going back to that, you enter your phone number. After you enter your phone number, you get a text message, which is a code to verify you have your phone in front of you. You're not just entering some random number.
Yep.
Once you enter the code, it verifies you and takes you to the setup screen. The setup screen asks you when you want to receive your daily positive messages. And so with Take 2 Minutes, there's, going back to my son's original journey when I was sending him positive messages, I have a database now of like 1,600 positive messages. 1,200 are for what I would consider adults and
Yep.
400 or more for children. So we
Okay.
have a whole database now of messages that were written
Beautiful.
for the age group of like 13 through 17-ish, let's say.
Yeah.
And those were
Beautiful.
all written by school counselors, school teachers, in school counselors, all kinds of different people who have knowledge with that age group. So they're just much shorter messages, much more poignant to that age demographic. But anyway, you set up what time you want to receive your messages. If you don't want to receive them, that's okay. Not everyone loves the positive messages. Most people do, but if you don't, you can turn off the days so you don't get those delivered, or you can text back the word, pause social positivity or pause social messages. You'll stop getting them. But once you complete that step to set up your delivery date and time, the next one is to select a plan, and the plan is a payment plan, and then you're a member past that. Once you're a member, you can use the mobile Progressive Web App as an app on your phone to set up your activities. So let's say you want a gratitude journal every day at 8 a.m. You can set a reminder at 8 a.m. every day to get a text saying, "Hey, it's time for your gratitude journal," as a reminder to you. Since it is a text-based service, what I love is you can make a gratitude journal statement by replying to that text message, or you can click on the link it sends you and go to a website which allows you to enter your gratitude journal. So you can do it via a website or just a text message back, which I think is brilliant because people who love text messaging can just say, "Oh, yeah, it's time to do it." And they can just start typing in their text message, hit enter, and they've made a gratitude journal statement, which is now part of their gratitude journal in their profile on Take 2 Minutes.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
all the activities work that way. All the activities work where you can do it via text or you can go to the site and do it. And most of the activities have reminders. You can get a reminder to meditate. You can get a reminder for 3 good things in the evening. You can get a reminder for
Mm.
gratitude journal. You can get a reminder for the gratitude challenge also. It's all reminders you can set up.
I like it, and I like the way it just kind of flows, right? It just naturally a natural progression, which is important for the user experience, and so I'm glad we sort of walked through that. So for listeners that wanted to connect right away, where do we send them?
Take2minutes.org. Take2minutes.org is, again, it's an organization. It's a nonprofit. If you want to talk to me, there is a schedule a meeting with Mark somewhere on that homepage. You can definitely schedule a meeting. You can sign up for Take 2 Minutes. We're always offering some sort of discount or promotion. There's one right now. I don't know when this particular podcast will go live, but through the end of the year, we're trying to do a buy one, get one. And that was because a lot of parents This is an area that this is for younger generations or for parents who have younger kids, but I think this is important. Something that always just brings sadness to me, and I've heard it too many times, is when I have a friend or an acquaintance or someone reaches out and says, "My son tried to commit suicide," or a friend of my son's tried to commit suicide. Parents have the ability to create an account and take 2 minutes, and during the buy one get one, they can then give an account to a child. The beauty of Take 2 Minutes is it does allow the parent to see which activities the child is partaking in. The parent can't see the gratitude journal entries, for instance, but it does allow a parent to give a child a path to find some help and happiness. Again, I'm not going to substitute Take 2 Minutes for counseling or therapy. Counseling or therapy is very important, but some parents do realize that let's remove the suicide attempts. Let's just say a parent has a son or a daughter who's a little bit sad or they're worried about, maybe they want to, or maybe they've gone to counseling. Either way, the parent recognizes maybe they should start doing gratitude journaling. The parent can sign up for Take 2 Minutes, give an account to their child, talk to the child about the importance of gratitude journaling, and then look at their child's account within their profile and see, oh, look, they are doing a gratitude journal statement every day, or they're not. Maybe I should talk to them more. So it's a means to communicate. It furthers communication between the child and the parent and gives the parent a way to possibly help that child more.
Love it. I love it. We'll certainly do our part to encourage our listeners to head over in that direction. Marc, this has been awesome. I really sort of love the walkthrough and then the philosophy behind Take 2 Minutes. Congratulations. And I know this wasn't an easy thing overnight. A lot of work has gone into this, and clearly it's showing in the as I say, the proof in the pudding. And so congratulations on your work. And thank you for being here on the Audacious Living Podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me again. I so much appreciate it. And again, I want to end with stressing that I think we talked about Take 2 Minutes a lot, which I'm grateful for, but really my purpose is to tell people there are tools, similar to you. Let's get everybody into living the best life they can. And recognizing there are ways to recognize positivity and be in a happier spot and use all the means that are out there to do so.
Well, appreciate you, Marc. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Back we are here on the podcast, and much thanks and appreciation goes out to Marc for being here. During our conversation, Marc and I delved into the essence of positivity and its profound impact on our lives. He shared compelling evidence from participants who've seen an over 200% increase in their positivity levels after engaging with the Take 2 Minutes program. This highlights the idea that cultivating a positive mindset is not just a lofty goal, but an achievable reality for all of us. I personally loved how Marc pointed out that recognizing positivity doesn't mean ignoring life's challenges. It's absolutely not that. Instead, it's about equipping ourselves with the tools to navigate through those challenges with resilience and grace. The program's text-based reminders for gratitude journaling and meditation serve as gentle nudges, encouraging us to pause, reflect, and appreciate the good in our lives. I encourage you to connect with Marc directly. You can find out more about him at the Take 2 Minutes or Take 2 Minutes org, his website, where you'll learn more about his work and sign up for the program. Details will be provided in the show notes below for you able to do that. Right now, Take 2 Minutes is offering a special buy one get one promotion, which allows parents to provide access to their children, which is really kind of cool. This initiative is really has a chance to foster positive habits in our younger generation and creates a supportive environment for well-being. So certainly look into that. I'd encourage you. I want to thank you for tuning into another edition of the Audacious Living Podcast, where again we're looking to spread positivity and help individuals understand the process of living a best audacious life. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, I ask that you consider following, subscribing, or sharing if you haven't already done so, because that's, of course, how we have this podcast grow and touch even more people. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.
You've been listening to the Audacious Living Podcast, hosted by Audley Stephenson. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, be audacious.